Okay, and we are live, so let's fucking get this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Talk about a text I don't want to see in the morning.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Ezra pooped this morning. It wasn't even a lot.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
And out, of course, it went out his diaper into his pants, and he was wearing very thin pants.
So you said he did what?
He pooped this morning, and of course there was just a whole bunch in his pants, and they're very thin pants. So I was like, and I've been carrying you around for like 10 minutes. Of course this would happen. I'm such a dork. This thing must be broken. It says we have 19 viewers.
Holy cow.
I think it's broken. Oh, man.
Yeah, because right
Playing
now
catch last night. Oof.
I know, I heard you talking about it on the stream.
I overdid it. Well, I mean, you know, when I left and when I got back, we played catch that entire time. We just we started talking. Next thing I know, it's like an hour, and I'm like, okay, this is no, that's not. I don't know.
What's up? Oh,
I don't know how to get the gotta figure out how to do like a shout out bot that like shouts out when we go live and stuff.
touche, touche.
All right, so what we got acceptance.
Yes.
Good morning, Carrie. Good to see you.
Carrie, good morning, Carrie. Carrie, I will most definitely get back to you right after this, okay? Your message. But thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, we know what we're going to talk about. Get this bad boy going.
All right.
Yeah, no problem, Carrie.
Oh, I guess I better start recording if we're gonna do this, because that would be embarrassing. This is not my first time. I'm not nervous. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at that. Look at how much better we look.
I thought you were gonna say how much gray you have, because I noticed it last night. But if you don't want to talk about it,
it's bad. I can't wait though. I actually, I went the whole salt and pepper look. I think it just it you know, more wise, more wisdom I have to give.
Obviously, you know, I ain't got much up here, but I do have quite a bit of gray down in here. It's starting to get peppery. I'm enjoying it too. I'm enjoying getting older. So actually, before we get started, we're gonna run an ad break, so nobody has to watch ads when they jump in. So I'm gonna do that quick. So we're gonna, in a minute 30 seconds, we're gonna go live. So thank you for sticking with us. Ooh, Carrie, you get a white stripe. Where's their white stripe at? Is it like right down the back, like a really cool streak, or is it kind of in an odd spot?
Not gotten any gray hairs in my beard yet.
That's
not yet.
I think I have like 3 or 4 on top of my head, but I have like, I don't know, quite a few sprinkled in my beard.
I really like the way these
I just wish my hair would just be like, all right, we're done, we're leaving you, on the top of my head.
Yo, I found a really nice, really nice Last of Us poster on that site. We'll go somewhere
Redbubble. You gonna take down the Bucky and put it like right where Bucky is? And then when
Yeah,
talk like football and
yeah.
stuff, you can still hang the Bucky up.
Probably don't need the Bucky. I probably can just take that down because I got the W
Yeah.
and that.
Which you make sure that you're right over your shoulder running, which I appreciate. Hell, Carrie says that it's front and center like a skunk. I don't know if it's like a skunk. Skunks can be cute too, as long as they don't spray you. All right. And we are back and we are ready to start. Are we recording? We are recording. I am not a noob today. So, just so everybody in Twitch knows, if you're new to this is kind of our serious show and our podcast. So, we don't really interact with the chat very much. We will at the end. We appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, this is our sobriety podcast where we talk about both of us being sober, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Untapped Keg. I am one of your hosts, RJ Zimmerman, here with my good friend, Monte Ball. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I am alive and well, but when I say good, there's some really important things we need to chat about. 'Cause although I am doing good, doing well, um, I know there's a lot of people in this world, in this country today that is not. And we're gonna get into that. But how are you doing, man?
Uh, I talked about this a little bit on Thursday, which is our sports show, that I had a little bit of a rough week. It was stressful. With the events that are going on in the world, the way people are still acting, tripling down on their reality being the truth and not actually what reality is being the truth. It could get very stressful, especially when you try to explain your position and they just double down and basically say that you're wrong. It stinks. But it's not something that I'm gonna shy away from, or it's not gonna deter me. So, but this week has also been a lot of fun and a lot of stress, for a different reason. More like fun stress, more like kind of trying to learn stress. So we could get into why mine was bad stress in a little bit, but let's get into the fun stuff. And we had a very exciting announcement that happened on Thursday. Happened when I was talking to my partner about the vacation we were going on, and like my eyes got wide, and she's like, "Oh, what happened? Did somebody get hurt, or what's going on?" And I'm like, "No." So that group that we applied to, the Radically Kind Gamers, we got accepted to, and she was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" I'm all excited, just like jumping up and down, like in disbelief. And she's like, "Okay, and now what?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate the cold water." But yeah, so this is really exciting. We're both really excited. Why don't you explain a little bit, Monts, and
Yeah,
your
arcade.
feelings?
No, yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yes, we got accepted to RKG, you guys, and Radically Kind Gamers. And again, for those who may not know, pretty much a platform, an all-inclusive platform or community, I should say, of people who all stream, all are into video games, all are into podcasts, all are who are into positivity and growth and helping other streamers, other podcasters, what have you, grow their network. And so, I mean, we're talking about a person who has a really good following. She's Zombie Kills is her name. She's pretty much uh, the
She started the team.
person.
This is
Yeah.
her brainchild.
Yep. And they picked us. They picked us out of 100 and something applicants, and they only picked around 20 people, and we were chosen. So we're excited about that because for many reasons. For one, we always talk about we're amateurs here and just love to just chat.
And it has never been more apparent than this week. Let me tell you, I've been jumping in on people's streams and I'm like, oh my, oh my goodness,
Yeah, we still
what are we
got a
gonna
lot,
do?
right? We still got a lot of work to do, but it was just exciting to be accepted into a group because, it's like that validation that we always talk about. That validation and getting on the recovery journey. We always talk about focusing on your support system, focusing on who you want to surround yourself around, who's going to uplift you, who is going to focus on making sure that you are doing the right things, making sure they're doing the right things, all the above, just growing. And for us to be accepted into this community is a wonderful thing because again, the validation, we're excited, we're obviously chatting about the right stuff, and it just really feels good. It really, really does. Um, and we want to kind of chat more about just becoming vulnerable and just allowing for our emotions, share our emotions here as men, and be like, we're very, very excited, emotional, um, and just happy and honored to be
And
honored.
some of the stress that we felt about building this our podcast, our community, our trying to become more of a platform. Um, Hearing from the viewers, hearing from our listeners, our community members, reaching out to us to um, tell us their stories or ask for help or um, just I've talked about this on Twitter, I've talked about it on the podcast, but the wheel of inspiration, it just keeps happening, it just keeps going and going and going, and everybody's story that they tell us inspires us to tell our stories more and tells us we can get vulnerable, and it's starting to connect with people and um make them feel better about themselves or uh just feel like they're understood, right? So then we have that, and we have more people starting to contact us, and that's awesome. It's amazing. Like, it's so much fun. And then to get accepted into RKG, it was just so much. It was just another. We're on the right track. We're
Yeah,
trying to do this, and now we got to step it up a little bit. Like, we gotta get this stream down. We probably need like a starting soon screen. We need to be a little bit more professional, and but also we both have full-time jobs and kids and partners. So it's been, there's a little bit of stress on top of it, but at the same time, I can feel a little bit of energy coming to me too. So,
yeah, yeah.
so
We're
it's very
literally,
exciting. And then one more thing that RKG does is charity. Every month they have a different
yeah,
charity that they raise money for. And this month is Charity Water, which what Charity Water wants to do is get clean water to everybody on the planet, which is a goal I think we can all get behind. Um, it's like 730 million people don't have access to clean water, and Charity Water wants to change that. So for the month of April, which is it's almost over already. We're almost through
yeah.
April. Are you kidding me?
Like
Um,
April 2nd.
I know. So we're gonna help them raise some money for Charity Water. If you want to see it, it's exclamation point charity, and there is a link. I don't know how to set it up in the stream yet. I tried for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, all right, apparently I need to go to the University of Google here because it's gonna take a little bit longer because it takes me about twice as long as things should when it comes to technology. And I felt a little bit old this week, like up in the Discord and watching what people do and watching their streams, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, we're learning, growing, trying to understand more. And when I say it's such an honor and it's so exciting to be accepted into this group, like I truly mean it. We mean it. Very, very inclusive group. People from all different kinds of walks of life coming together, sharing a common passion, common goal, wanting to grow, wanting to spread positivity, wanting to be accepting to whatever, all of the above, and it's just a refreshing thing. That's just really what it is. It's refreshing, and we're honored. And again, this whole topic that we're talking about pretty much falls under what we talk about all the time here in Untapped Keg. hopping on your recovery journey, you have to make sure that your support system, you're building the foundation, putting people around you who's going to help, putting people around you who's going to be positive with your journey, and just help you become a better person. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's why we're so excited. And again, RKG, we're thankful. We're very, very thankful.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of new followers, a lot of new listeners, which we really appreciate. It's been a really, really awesome week. So I think we'll start with some introductions to get people
Yeah.
acquainted. If you want to, episode 50, which was not too far ago, but you go to either YouTube or our podcast services. Episode 50 was a soft reboot where we talk about basically our 1 year anniversary, talk about who we are, kind of like our journeys, and get into stuff. But here's some very top level. My name is RJ Zimmerman. I'm an alcoholic. I have been sober for a little bit over 7 years, and I am a line tech for a utility company. So I work on high voltage power lines. That is my job.
Awesome. And everybody, my name is Monte Ball. I have been on my recovery journey since August 1st, 2016. I love sharing that. And I would not be here today if it wasn't for RJ, brother-in-law. He has been with my sister in our lives for 12 years. So he's literally witnessed, and I've witnessed him as well, our ups, our many, many downs. And I am with an organization, Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, uh, where I help to destigmatize substance use disorder, help to uplift people, help to dump resources in certain communities regarding the opioid crisis, all of the above. So we are doing a lot of work to help people, and we wanted to start this podcast to share our journey, to share our falls, to share our ups, and really just to encourage others to become vulnerable, encourage others to understand that the recovery journey is not a linear process. Uh, I have people reaching out to me who actually have been literally last night asked me if I've ever relapsed, and I think I've never really touched on it. And I really want to get into it. And you think I should, RJ? It's a good segue for me to
Yeah.
just go ahead and get
Yep.
into it.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So I've never really shared this part, but I state that my sobriety date is August 1st. My recovery journey started, and I say recovery journey because I understand that it's going to be a journey. I am hoping and praying that I stay far, far away from alcohol, and I believe that I'm going to. But I always share that it's a recovery journey, just so people understand that it's a process. It's not linear. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But prior to August 1st, between February of 2016 and August 1st of 2016, again in February of that year, I knew that I finally realized I had a problem with alcohol. I failed probably about 8 to 9 times leading up to actually August 1 of 2016. Fell off many times, and I don't think I've ever shared that with people, and I am, because it has not been up until August 1st. It was not an easy journey, and it's still not an easy journey. But I have slipped and fell plenty of times, and I just want to share that just so people can understand that if we're capable, RJ, of getting to this place where we're at right now, then they are as well. Don't beat yourself up for falling. Don't beat yourself up for maybe taking the 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, because what I always share with people is this: even if you have had a relapse, it does not mean that the side of you that you're working on stops growing and
Mm-hmm.
stops learning. Um, when you learn to ride a bike, it's not as if you just, you're 2 or 3 years old, you just hop on a bike without any training wheels and take off. Obviously, there are some people that can do that. Obviously, there are some people who can hop on their sobriety journey and never look back once, all back. But most, more than most times, you're going to need those training wheels. You're going to need that practice. You're going to need somebody to pick you up, put you on the bike. You're going to need somebody to put their hand behind you. You're going to need all of that. You're going to fall. You're going to get back up. You're going to dust the dirt off of your knees and get back on that bike. And again, that's an analogy that we use here because it's not a linear journey. It's not. It's to make sure that you just keep going forward, just keep getting up and moving forward. And so, don't want to get too long-winded there. Just really wanted to share that. And again, we're not perfect. We're still learning. We're trying to understand. But again, here at Untapped Keg, we focus on just talking about toxic masculinity and how that played a huge role in my alcoholism, and also talking about how we can become better men, better human beings, and to challenge other men and others to become more vulnerable. Because in that state of vulnerability, you experience a significant amount of growth.
So
Right.
for myself, going on this same wavelength, thank you for sharing. At 19, I went sober for 2 months. 19. And I should have probably realized at that point that I had an issue if I'm 19 years old. And I just 2 months, and then I got back on, and then I hit it hard. And then like going through college, I mean, my sobriety, I did like a month, 2 here and there, but I never really got super serious about it. I was like, oh, it won't be as bad if I space out the times that I get blacked out, right? It won't be as big of a deal as if I had been drinking every day. Like that mattered when you're an alcoholic. But every single time I drank, I was blacking out. And that's when I realized, waking up in the morning, wondering who I have to apologize to for the night before. That's when I realized that I'm going to have to go sober. There's no two ways about it. So when I made my final decision, I've had, don't get me wrong, I have urges, and sometimes they're very strong, and sometimes I just have to go to bed. I just have to remove myself from situations. But I have not relapsed. Luckily, part of it is having such a strong partner that I do. Part of it is having my dad, who has been sober for 25 plus years, to look at, but we never talked about it growing up. So a lot of these, and I talked about it, I think a couple podcasts ago, like I didn't really work on my sobriety just because of how life was and everything. So I was almost like a dry drunk and kind of coasting through my sobriety, which is almost not super. I mean, it wasn't helpful for me coming to terms with my emotions. It wasn't helpful for me with my emotional intelligence, which we talk about a lot, especially in terms of toxic masculinity. But I see like the chat right now is talking a lot, asking if this is geared towards men. It's open to everybody. We have women on. We're gonna have a lot of different people on, and it's just geared towards, we want people to know that they're not alone and share our experiences. And just so chat knows, because there's a lot of new people with us, we don't engage too much with the chat during this show. We will at the end, but I see it, and I appreciate all the kind words in there. And congratulations on
I wanted to say that too.
Sobriety dates. So
we're seeing some sobriety dates in there, and congrats.
That's awesome.
That is. But thank you for sharing that, RJ, man. I think it's again, it's so refreshing just to just to let it out, just to let it out. I mean, with this social media boom,
Yeah.
with everything that's been going on, I feel like people's emotions were more withdrawn from folks. We're more on our phones. We're more into having conversations via Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're losing that touch.
And the glorification
with
of
folks.
alcohol that I've noticed in the past 2 years. It's always been there, but it seems like it's really gone up through the roof the past few years. Now I don't know if that's me noticing it or if it's the world.
Yeah. Well, 2020. So I have received statistics from the DHS here in Wisconsin, and the stats are through the roof when it comes to alcohol sales last year, through the roof, which makes sense.
Yeah.
People are isolated. The liquor stores were like the only thing open at one point in time. So it's my thing that I really like to talk about. And again, this is not going to be our topic today, but that residual effects, the aftermath of the pandemic, the aftermath of people being isolated, etc. I just hope that people are focusing on their mental health now more than ever. And that's what we do. That's what we do here at Untapped Keg, is talk about our stuff, be honest, share, become vulnerable, and just, hey, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. But what we got going on today, RJ? What we got, man?
So when here at Untapped Keg, we shy away from no topics. And one thing that we're really like to talk about is how everything relates to your sobriety. Like when you're sober, when you embrace it, when you're on a recovery journey, whether it's just your sobriety journey or recovery journey, it's two different things. We talk about that later, but everything in the world affects it. All the stresses go back to it, because that's what we used for stress relief. That's what we used to hide from our emotions, was the substance of our choice, that we ended up dependent on, right? The world today it's tough. It is so tough. And, Black Lives Matter, and going through the George Floyd trial and having to relive and hear how they're trying to get Chauvin off. And I'm still not convinced that he's going to be convicted. And then you hear what other police officers have used to get off. I saw something on social media yesterday about Daniel Shaver. If anybody doesn't know that, it's a man who was killed in a hotel hallway in his shorts and underwear, drunk, crawling on the floor, asking them not to kill him. And they shot him dead because he fell and he went to pull his pants up. And he had nothing in it. And I'm sorry, this is going to be some triggers. We should have warned that. Yeah. We're going to be talking about this. But then we have, goodness gracious, just cannot remember the man's name in Minnesota while the George Floyd trial is going on.
Dante Wright.
Thank you, Dante Wright.
Yep.
And then you find out about Adam down in Chicago, the 13-year-old, and it's just, it's tough. How do you talk about this? And then when you hear me being white, people will tell on themselves. People will talk to me thinking that because I'm white, I have the same feelings that they do. And even when I make my feelings known, they will double down and try to, it just gets worse. Let's put it that way. It gets very worse.
I think it's
this time it's tripling down. Like it's amazing. What I've seen a lot of people say is the mental gymnastics that people are going through to try to justify what is happening in the world right now.
And I think you made such a good point, because again, we talk about we cannot sit here. Excuse me. We can't sit here and ignore what's going on outside. We can't. We most definitely cannot. We're living through a pandemic, and we're also living through a very very polarized time in our society. I mean, there's obviously been many other times where it's just polarized thoughts, opinions, political views, etc. Uh, but we cannot ignore these topics when we talk about straying away from drugs, straying away from things that make you feel good, straying away, or the things that help you to escape reality. And so I'm seeing in our chat people talking about, what alcohol is. It is it's one heck of a slippery slope, fighting depression and then using alcohol to self-medicate. Right now we're living in times where our communities of color are extremely anxious. Our communities of color are worried,
Justifiably so.
scared, in trying to find our allies. RJ, obviously you are a very important ally in my life, my sister's lives, my parents' lives, etc. Our communities of color are trying to reach out for help. They're trying to build that support system that we talk about. Obviously, not just within themselves. We're trying to become more inclusive, invite Asians, invite white people, etc. But we need other strong voices, people who are seeing what's going on in this country when it comes to Black and brown bodies. It's not a secret. This is not political. This is just human rights. And so we cannot ignore that piece when we talk about our recovery journey, when we talk about how we are feeling inside and how we make others feel inside when we talk about certain things. And so I'm glad that this topic came up because this is the world that we are living in today. This is what it is. And I just challenge people to really focus on who you're surrounding yourself around. What are their thoughts on these topics, and challenge them with it. Challenge them. Some may be purposely ignorant. Some may just not understand. And so we talk about this inclusion. It's just this wraparound effect. Getting yourself right, inviting as many people as you can to the conversation, and then sharing that knowledge. That can be about alcohol and or drugs, and also societal issues. And so what's going on in today's world is it needs to stop. It needs to stop, man. It really does. And I think that we're going to know a lot more this upcoming week about the Chauvin case. We really are.
I mean, it's to the point until the verdict comes in, I'm just going to believe he's getting off. Like, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate this world. I hate that people have buried their heads in the sand so far. I mean, I grew up in small town Wisconsin, like 2,500. My parents knew what I did that day before I even got home, right? And I loved. I was friends with anyone and everyone, and yeah, sometimes I was a little turd because people are always little turds. But I don't remember ever being racist or anything, but I do remember people around me being racist. I was very ignorant to the way that the world worked, the real world worked, because where I grew up was not the real world. There were real world problems happening there, but it was not the same as going to a small town in Wisconsin. So this is, I had a lot to learn. I was very ignorant. I was very but I've been willing to listen. And
Literally what I was about to say. You have grown.
That's the thing, is you have to be willing to accept that what we can deal with, and this goes with anybody on their sobriety journey, anybody on the recovery journey, anybody trying to recover from what you're trying to recover from, and as human beings, you can only deal with the stresses that are around you, right? That's your world. So your stresses to other people may seem like small things, but they're your stresses.
Yeah,
And that's what stresses you out. And that's valid. That's okay. Like
absolutely,
that is real. Um,
absolutely.
Accepting that other people have other stresses and accepting that those other stresses may lead to uh, pretty big consequences, such as, systemic racism that has kept uh, people of color down for so long.
Yeah,
That does not minimize your own stresses. It does not mean that you've never gone through stress in your life. It does not mean that you did not have money at some point. It does not mean that what you went through as a human being is any less
mm.
um,
What anybody
than
else is going
somebody
through.
else has also gone
Yeah,
through. But you can
yeah,
also say, we need to make this world better because it's not perfect. That's something that you can do. Like what a lot of people, and I'm going to say white people, get behind in when they yell out patriotism, when they yell out America's the best, and all this stuff is the idea of America. The idea is the reality. Not even close. Not even close.
not even same.
The
Just ballpark.
idea of certain politicians, great, fantastic, wonderful. The reality, not even close. Like, just never helped you out once in a vote. Like, there's so many times where we like, it's like, your ex-partner. It's like um it's like the grass is greener. It's like looking at the past through rose-colored glasses, right? Um Things get, the idea of it is better than what it really was. And if you can kind of separate that idea from the reality, it helps with where we are now. It helps with what we are doing. And that's just something that I personally have had to do with my sobriety. The idea of myself on alcohol was a lot better than that my actual person on alcohol. And I always had to wake up and think who I had to apologize to. But when it comes to raising people up, raising all communities up, Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights.
Yes.
All of this matters. And if we pick everybody up to the same level, then the idea of America can become reality and we can be proud of what we built. But until then, we are still working. And it's not bad to still be working, but it is bad if you refuse to do the work and you say, oh, the work has already been done. We don't have anything else to do.
Really good point, man. And real quick, first off, I just want to say we really don't engage that much again on this show with our chat, but I want to say that this has been, for one, a wonderful conversation with you, RJ, up to this point. But also, I'm looking at the conversations in the chat. Jenny, we're gonna fix the Nightbot. We do apologize, Jenny, in the chat. We're gonna fix that Nightbot, so please just ignore that. What the Nightbot stated right there. But you guys are being very kind and helping each other in the chat, which is wonderful. RJ, you made some really good points right there, man, about that idea versus reality, and that is huge. That is huge. I want to bring something up. It's almost in that same. I don't know. I want your thoughts on this. So, there was a gentleman who reached out to me yesterday via social media, and he had a really, really good point or question, which was, how do you go about still pursuing your recovery journey while also still having those serious and significant urges to drink that pull from like both sides? You know what I mean? This way to that way. Like, how do you navigate that? How do you, and this is, I guess, my question to you. How do you, RJ, you go about silencing that little voice in your head, that urge? And I had a conversation with somebody the other day where it's relapse to me is not just, it isn't just, picking up the bottle and drinking. I think the relapse happens way before that. The thoughts, the urges, and the anticipation that you're feeling to then use that drug. And so, RJ, how do you And again, this is a personal question. Obviously, everyone's journey is different. How do you, and I'll answer afterwards, but how do you go about silencing that voice? You know, the idea of being sobered on your recovery journey versus that reality of, you know, that all those stressors, all that little voice, that the thoughts that you've done in the, or the things that you've done in the past and how that's eating you up, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? That idea seems to be sitting at the top of just being clean, sober. Life is great. Life is wonderful. I'm so blessed and happy. Obviously, yeah, that's what we all want to get to. But let's be honest, that's not the reality when you first start your recovery journey, and probably most likely for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. How do you go about silencing that voice?
So when I first started my sobriety, I would probably say for a year or two, I only put myself in situations where there was going to be a lot of drinking. If I had somebody there I knew I could depend on to maybe see me struggle and pull me away. So like one of my best friends, Matt, my partner, um, and then like my little brother. And like there wasn't too many people else besides those three that I trusted to go in those situations. And I definitely didn't do it by myself. That does not work for your entire life. Eventually you have to get into those situations. I shouldn't say have to, but you're probably going to get in those situations with life because of our societies, our cultures, you know, alcohol is involved in everything.
Yes.
And so what I did was I found different escapes. I found ways for me to deal with it. So like if there's a lot of people around, I try to find something in the sports world that I can watch. Like sometimes it was a baseball game. Sometimes it was a basketball game. Even if I didn't care about the teams, I had fun watching the sports. Sometimes it is honestly just straight up leaving. Like if it was my drink of choice, like if it was a really good IPA and I could smell it, I was leaving. I would just, hey, I gotta go. I'm sorry. Or I would just ghost. Like, it's fine. But now what it is I've found new ways to take those emotions and use them. So, and I'm not saying like I'm really good at emotional intelligence because I am not. I'm not saying I'm really good at managing my emotions because I'm not yet, but I'm working on it. And so if I get really stressed out, like if I'm really, really, really stressed out, I get a Mountain Dew and a Little Debbie. And it's sugar. Sugar is my new vice. And I know that is also not the healthiest of vices, but that is what I do. I get a Mountain Dew and I get a Little Debbie or something. And just those flavors, the sweets kind of takes me away for a second, lets me take a deep breath and reset. So being able to find what you can do to take a deep breath, reset a little bit, and engage a little bit more, but also not being afraid or feeling guilty of just unplugging, of just leaving, removing yourself from the situation. And I don't know how great those are. I wish that I had more better things. I mean, I've gotten more hobbies that help take my stress out too, such as like video games, such as reading books and comic books. And, you know, I've always been into movies and TV shows, but there's always things that I can do that help me put words to my emotion, put words to my thoughts, kind of take my thoughts that are a jumbled mess and kind of put them into little boxes that I can understand a little bit better. That's what I've found that works, but that's what works for me. What works for you, Mons?
Yeah. Really good points there, man. For me, it's I have to keep myself busy. I have to. And I have to keep myself busy it's almost like distract myself from that those urges of alcohol. And I don't necessarily mean urges as in like significant withdrawals or the physical signs of withdrawals. For my withdrawals in a sense are that FOMO, fear of missing out, which I know that a lot of people can relate to.
Yep.
Obviously,
Absolutely.
us who are on that recovery journey, we know what it feels like to be under the influence. We know what it feels like to be around others who are under the influence, the music, the vibes, etc. And then obviously with this social media, you can see people still, maybe friends from your past or what have you, still obviously involved in that stuff. So that fear of missing out has been, and it will probably always be the biggest one for me, that urge. So for myself, when that urge becomes like more heightened, I have to make myself even more busy. I have to be busy, whether it's hands-on projects, whether it's PC projects that I'm doing, what have you. I have to keep myself busy, distract my attention, distracted. And I'm not perfect, of course, but that plus my one session a month of therapy really, really helps me out significantly. And so I kind of wanted to touch on that just so, again, if people are new to this, talking about triggers, my trigger is FOMO. I placed a I placed a significant amount of my self-esteem and my identity in football and partying. That's just what it was. Football and partying. When I wasn't out on the field running, my self-esteem, my ego was inflated by walking into parties, by buying the bar drinks, by
What do
doing all the above.
what do all those things have in common though? Putting smiles on faces.
Yeah, people pleasers, and that's a really good one. People who suffer from substance use disorder, obviously not all, but we all need that validation from our peers. You know what I mean? We all need that. Not as not let me rephrase that. Not need, because I don't need that now, but while it's under the influence all the time, that is what I yearned for, is that validation, that appreciation. And I unfortunately thought the best way to get that was to buy everybody drinks, pay for XYZ during the parties, and all of the above. And so coming out of that cloud and realizing that's what I tied my self-esteem to, I've realized that I was somebody suffering from low self-esteem. I did not think, you know, good thoughts. I did not, about myself. I did not feel secure. That's just really what it is. And so throughout therapy, I've learned to address that. I've learned to address my insecurities, and learn to address my alcoholism and all of the above. And obviously, same for you, RJ, as well. We had somewhat the similar personality when it comes to the bar life, and just glad that we're both on the other end of that, and look back and kind of just frown upon ourselves.
I mean, when I tell stories and I laugh, it's because I have to laugh to not be embarrassed and die of embarrassment. So, yeah, I still love that, putting smiles on faces, making people laugh, making people feel good about themselves. Like, part of why I want to start the podcast is listening to Chris Hardwick talk about himself being sober helped me feel better about being sober. So like, I want people to know they're not alone, that we're here to help if they just want to talk, if they need some advice. You're a professional. I'm working on becoming a recovery coach. Not there yet. Yeah. But we are here to offer words, to offer guidance. We were talking earlier about growing older and getting those grays, and how we're both excited. When I was drinking, I was scared to get older, right? My early 20s was a blur. Honestly, from 18, right after high school, till 26, 27, it was a very big blur. I have gaps of my knowledge. I don't remember. I don't know. I have times I drink till I blacked out all the time. I mean, I don't know how many times I got texts from people the next day saying that they had fun and it was nice meeting me. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
I went to I was at this person's house and I woke up. I don't know what happened in between. Yeah. And you know, I still love people having fun. I still love making people laugh. I still love at work we can have a good time and do hard work. My job is serious enough with just what we do that we should also have fun while we're doing it, because you don't know. We put ourselves in dangerous situations too much to take it so serious all the time that you're stressed out. That's how I feel about my job. And there's other people that don't feel that way. So we clash a little bit. And that happens. And that's where I find it tough in my sobriety, in my recovery, is when I clash with people, because I still have that. I want to be liked by everybody. I want to do what I have to do to make you like me, even though that is such an unhealthy way.
But you are being, dude, sharing that, a significant amount of power, man, and you're empowering yourself by sharing that, man, because you are letting people know that you still are on your journey of there's still, I don't necessarily want to say flaws, but there's still things that you're working on. Of, you know, when we were under the influence, it was I want everybody to like me, and the way that I'm getting them to like me is buying them drinks. Obviously, now that drink is no longer there, you're no longer putting yourself in those situations because you're in a different journey. You still have that effect, that residual, that aftermath of, oh, I kind of still want to do as much as I can to have people like me. And I can 100% relate to you, RJ, on that. 100%. And so I thank you, man, for sharing that. And I also want to give a shout out again to our chat. I've been reading every single comment. This is remarkable. Metafish, Nebula, Carrie, and Jenny, and Dan the Man in there. Dan the Man, Jenny, all of you guys have been sharing some important stuff. Metafish, thank you for becoming vulnerable and sharing what you shared. This is awesome. And this is what we love to do here at Untapped Keg. We always say we're not professionals. I am a recovery coach, but RJ, obviously you don't have this certificate yet, but you pretty much already got it. You know, 90% of it is just understanding, becoming empathetic to everyone's walks of life, different walks of life. That's really just what it's about. And you have lived experience. So in my eyes, you are a recovery coach. You're just not certified yet, but that's super, super simple. And so, guys, we just love to make people feel comfortable opening up. This is our safe space. And again, RJ, I always share this, man. I thank you for one, for coming into my life, man. And two, for being the person who wanted to start this. I was coasting for a very long time, and I was comfortable with coasting. And this year-long journey of Untapped Keg has brought more topics to my attention, topics of things that I need to work on. I need to work on opening up even more. I need to work on becoming even more vulnerable. Again, we talk about toxic masculinity because on my journey of life, you know, the game of football, there's a significant amount of toxic masculinity in locker rooms, on the practice field, on the game field, etc. And so there's still a lot of work I need to do that I'm hoping that I get 95% complete before I'm put in the ground. And so I just thank you, man. I thank everybody in the chat. I'm grateful. I'm honored. And we just love each and every one of you, because this is not easy to share, but we said, screw it. Let's just do it. There's no way we're the only ones struggling. So I just wanted to kind of share that from the heart right there.
I appreciate that. I love how vulnerable you got there. Thank you for the kind words. I'm trying to get better at accepting compliments. It's something Ashley and I were talking about last night. It's sometimes a little overwhelming because I've talked about on past shows, my self-esteem, self-worth is not fantastic. But
Am I pitting? Oh my god! Yo, look how that's how vulnerable I'm getting. Our audio listeners aren't gonna.
You're sweating so hard right now.
Our audio listeners aren't gonna see it, but I just like raised up my arm. Now I'm just pitting. So that's how vulnerable we're getting. I'm nervous. I'm anxious, and it's bad. Oh my gosh.
I know how anxious you are, and I know.
Yeah,
you have shared so much, and I appreciate that. I'm willing to share a lot, and I appreciate that you're meeting me there as well. And words are tough sometimes, and right now is one of those times. But one thing that you said there that I want to echo, that I was starting with before my ADD took me another direction. I am so excited now that I'm sober, getting older, because of the wisdom that comes with that. The experiences that we've had. You can't have wisdom without experience, number one. So everybody on a recovery journey, you have so much wisdom that you don't realize.
So true.
Another thing is, I love to learn. I did not realize this in my younger years. I just thought it was, everybody did it. I thought that it was everything, but I love learning. Like, I love knowing things, maybe not having the answers, but being able to problem solve and kind of get there based on context and things around it.
Yeah.
And what the older you get, the more you can learn, the more you put yourself out there. And that's something that I'm excited for when it comes to aging. Like, when I was in my early 20s, I was scared to turn 30, but when I turned 30, I was excited. It was nothing. It was just almost another day. I'm excited to be 40. I'm excited to be, to get older, to pass this knowledge down to my sons, to show them, and not just teach them because I'm their parent, but show them that I am not perfect. You don't have to be perfect, and that's okay.
Right. Yes, and I love how you always share that too. And then to those who just maybe new, RJ talks a lot about he doesn't want for his sons to place him on a pedestal because he's just their parent, or because he is their parent. He doesn't want to be placed on the pedestal at all. Just like he stated right there, because he wants for his sons to understand that life is not a perfect journey. It's not. There are many falls. Everyone experiences their rock bottom in different ways. And so you're just providing that lived experience to your children, for your children, about, and that's what I do with my son as well, is this is not going to be a flawless journey. Understand that you're going to fail. Just make sure that, and as cliche as it sounds, but it's true, fail forward. You'll learn a significant amount in that gap of failure. That gap meaning from maybe that you failed here and you're going to possibly fail again or succeed. In that time span right there, you have the opportunity of growth. And so this is just a remarkable conversation, man. And to those who are new, we don't program nothing. We don't write down what we're going to say. We just share. It's kind of like
we have a conversation.
Yeah, like a Sunday morning church. Sunday is technically the start of the week, and it's just refreshing to dump all this out. Stressors, exciting moments, etc. Get on with your week. And so pretty cool stuff, man. That was an important topic. I think we touched on some really good things there from the heart, from the source. And we're not too shy to share it. So that was awesome, man. That was awesome. Now into some pop culture, huh? Or what? Yeah. What you think?
Let's talk about some positives in our life. Talk about what we're thankful for. Kind of turn it a little bit. So, obviously, one thing that we're both thankful for is being a part of the Radically Kind Gamers. Being in that, I was actually. So I was playing a video game last week when we found out, and then all of a sudden we got in, and all of a sudden I haven't played video games since, except for last night. We played Rocket League with the community. It was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
I think that we might do that on Saturdays now. If you play Rocket League, we are going to be playing with the community. So we'll pop in around 8:30, 9 o'clock Saturday nights, and we'll play till about midnight, just with the community. If there's enough people, we might, limit the amount of games so we can get more people through. But yeah, it was a lot of fun playing with some community members last night. Hopefully we could do that some more. Plus, I mean, we could do like Apex, we could do like Warzone.
We just do the Among Us. I think
that's a good one.
Very simple game for people to. I mean, and after playing,
you can have more people in that too. So yeah. Among Us is a very good call. I like that.
Yeah,
so that's something that we'll do.
I like it, man. I feel really good, man. I feel really good. I think get all bubbly here. I feel really good about this conversation. I don't know, I'm still kind of processing it, but I saw somebody put in the chat, Ginny, fellowship, and that's so true. We're here just to talk about our fails, our positive moments in life, and all of the above. And so, yeah, we are excited to be part of RKG. I'm thrilled, man, to have the people who we have in our chat. I'm honored to feel comfortable, or at least get to that point of feeling 100% comfortable with sharing. And
Jenny just put in chat, I need to get you guys more feeling words than good.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah, we are our diction, our
dictionary revolving around emotions, like 12-year-old.
Yeah, so true.
Stamp it right here.
But this is a great point, though. Great point into that, men aren't encouraged to share their feelings in our society. We're not. So I think women most definitely are. And that's why.
Yeah, but that's to a point. Like, that's something that we don't talk about, but thinking about it too. Women are encouraged to share their feelings to a point, and then they're being crybabies, being, whiners, being like men are encouraged to share except for anger, emotions. Women are encouraged to share just enough, and then when you hit that certain point, you have to stop, because otherwise, yep.
Which is ridiculous, and you're right. That's so true. It's women are encouraged to share, but then there's some people out there, if they share too much, they slap tags on them and stuff, which is such a terrible thing to do. And we're just trying.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying. And I just wanted to point that out too, that we talk about toxic masculinity. That's revolves around us. That's how we were both raised. And because that's society demanded it of us. I mean, you get so deep into sports. I mean,
yeah,
kind of the same. You don't emotions weakness, period. So we try not to do that. But then I just wanted to acknowledge that also, like, thinking of conversations that I hear, that women are allowed to share their emotions to a point, and that's also not okay.
Dude, it is not. My gosh, man, it is not an easy time to be a woman, and I'd never, here at Untapped Keg, we never want to speak on behalf of women, because we're not women, but obviously we're not oblivious to what's going on. Men trying to make laws and decisions about women's bodies, which is the most ridiculous thing I think I have ever heard in a very, very long time. Men trying to silence women, which I'm sure has been going on since the beginning of time.
Definitely has.
Yeah. And I again, we're not here to speak on behalf of women, but we're not oblivious to what is going on. And I've shared it before. My past, I used to be an oppressor to women. But I'm so grateful that I have RJ. I'm so grateful that I have my support system to, like, snap me out of it and, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, not okay. And I was like, you're right. Not okay. But again, you touched on it, RJ. You learn a lot of traits of how to become someone who's full of toxic masculinity through the game of football. You do. You really, really do. I'm not blaming it, but I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest.
You can see it. You could see it changing in the NBA over the past like 10 years. And the old school NBA people, like I'm talking like Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, like all of them, they were mad about it. And like Isaiah Thomas, like they were very mad that this sport, it was okay to be emotional. And then it was okay to have friends from other teams. Like that was going to tarnish the game somehow. So to see that, it just kind of shows where we have to go. But we were going to talk positive stuff, and then we got into this. So let's go back.
That's our AD. That's our AD.
What have you, what have you done this week that was fun, or something you're excited coming up, or honestly, what made you laugh?
What made me laugh, man? I'm just gonna be honest, man. I'm really loving this growth, man, on our podcast, on our stream. That's really been what's been on my mind a lot this week, because again, we're still, super excited that we've been accepted RKG, but again, just meeting new people, man. Meeting new people, even though it's virtually, but still meeting new people who understand. You know what I mean? And aren't too prideful to share maybe what they're struggling with, or not too prideful to share what they've failed on or with or what have you. And I think that's just been really refreshing to me, man. And again, I've spoke about this already in this, but that's a huge positive I would say in my life right now is feeling accepted, man. Feeling accepted. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, using the word good all the time here, but it's a very refreshing time. And I'm just grateful. I'm
just a simple lineman. Yeah, I see pole, I set pole. I see wire, I hang wire. Like, that's what I do. Words.
But outside of that,
I say that a lot when people question kind of what we do.
Right. But that's really been a big positive in my life not thus far, but for the last week or so. It's been watching this grow the way that we've envisioned it last year, and it's happening. And so I'm just honored and grateful, you guys, that you want to listen to this ugly mug.
That you put your trust in us. That you put your trust in us to share your experiences and your feelings and everything. We appreciate that. Yeah. So, I'm grateful for my coworkers that have come to me and told me that my family matters to them, that my stresses are not lost on them, that it means so much, and I appreciate it. Sometimes not in the moment as much as I should, but I have been better about letting them know that I really do appreciate that they are standing up for me. But another thing, taking my kids to the park multiple times has been a lot of fun. Just me and my two sons. They're 3 and they're 1. I guess the 1-year-old is almost 2. He turns 2 in August. And then just I got to go out on a date, like a nice fancy date with my partner for the first time. And
let's talk about it.
And it's been over a year that we actually got dressed up and went on a date. One thing I will say is I have had the same dress pants for like 12 years.
Impressive.
Since your sister and I started dating. And yesterday I could not fit in them. So
I thought you did.
So I had to put on a different pair of pants, and I am going to have to cut back on my soda and my Little Debbie's as my crutch because that's not good.
No, man. It's what I tell people, man, is it's just my dryer. My dryer keeps just shrinking my clothes. So, I just always
I know what that's like. I know what that's like.
I'm on a 24-month of increasing my size at the stores, but in my clothes. But so, let's talk about that. You and my sister did go on a date. You guys looked really good. There's a word. Good.
Thank you.
You guys dressed very well. And but I'm confused. I thought you were just gonna take her to like McDonald's or something. That's what I told you. McDonald's or a food truck.
So that's funny because our second date ever was at a McDonald's. And that McDonald's that we went to on our second date was less than a block away from the restaurant I took her to last night. We drove past it, and she's like, so when we were driving past, I thought you were going to pull in there, and that's where you were taking me. And I was like, no, actually, that would have been really romantic, because we talk about how that was one of our favorite dates. That was the moment where we knew we could be serious with each other. Because we sat at that McDonald's for like 3 or 4 hours just talking. And we were so poor, that's all we could afford. So
there you go. In the chat real quick.
Yep.
RJ, I think it was Jenny. I think it was her, or somebody said they're gonna tweet. Yeah, it was Jenny. I'll tweet you some words, Monte. Please help your boy out. Help me out. I'm at a loss for words today. Yeah, please proceed, RJ.
Nebula says my son is turning 5 in June, and I want to cry. He's gotten so big so fast.
Nice.
I feel that so hard right now. With my youngest.
Yeah, my son is 5.
I can't believe your son is 5.
5, man. And look, I hung up he made a tree out of his handprints. It's an awesome thing. But yeah, my baby boy, love him to death. But what else, man? What else? How was last night? And then I want to get into some movies, man. I want to get into some movies.
It was good. It was really good. So, I mean, we had a lot of really good conversations. That's something that I sometimes struggle with as I get into autopilot. And then it's not that I don't want to have conversations. It's that I feel like I'm a burden. So like, I can't find the words. So when I have conversations, it gets me down a little bit. I just have so many thoughts going through up here that I just want to do what I have to do to get through the day, to go to sleep. And that's kind of it. But last night we had a lot of really good conversation. I took her, one of our favorite foods is Mexican. I took her to a really nice Mexican restaurant. And she loves this one Mexican restaurant over on the west side. It's about a 35-minute drive. That's actually where this restaurant is too. But I told her, no matter what, you have to tell me that this place is good. And she's like, why? That's weird. Is this place going to not be good? Are you taking me to a place that's like trashy? Like, what's going on here? And at the end of the meal, she admitted that it's better than her favorite restaurant. So we might have a
wait. She said that
restaurant. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And it was
you have to go back to the other restaurant.
The cheese dip is right there. And the it's so good. It is so good. It's more of a, it's hard to explain. They have different ingredient pairings. So it's not as I would say traditional when it comes to ingredients. Like I would say Compadre is a little more traditional. This place has a little bit more modern. It's more of a modern take on Mexican, I would say. So like one of their tacos, like their carnitas taco, instead of just having onions on it, it has pickled onions, and that just changes the flavor a little bit, just a little bit. It's just a little different, but it's really, really good. So that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And thank you for helping to watch the kids last night.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I'm disappointed in you though.
Why is that?
Because you should have took my idea. You should have put a little table in your truck bed, and you should have taken my sister to a food truck.
I would have had to find the location. That's a lot of work. I ain't got that much time.
That is a lot of work.
I cleaned out my garage this weekend. I put some trim back up on my house. You know.
Thank you, Jenny, in the chat. Tweeted me some feeling words. I'm on it. Dan the Man, thank you for sharing. Dan the Man says our first day was at McDonald's, and 12 years later, we're stronger than ever. Nebula, I hoard his drawings, paintings, crafts. Awesome.
Same.
Some really good stuff going on in the chat, you guys. I'm loving it. I really, really am. You guys are awesome.
So that reminds me. So I taught my oldest son, he's 3, a magic trick. They're starting to learn math up to 10, and apparently he's really good at it. I know, I've seen him. He's really good at it. He's very smart. And I said, "Hey, what's 1 + 2?" And he goes, and I'm like, 3. And he goes, "Wow, you did that? Oh my!" I'm like, all right. What's 2 + 2? He's like, I go, 4. And he, oh, no way. So he goes into school and he shows all his classmates and his teachers, "Hey, guys, what's 1 + 2? And they're like, "I don't know, 3." So now the whole class does that. And I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. I don't know. I just gotta, for some reason, I wanted to show him that, and it really took off. And it's helped him with math. So if you have little kids starting to learn math, that might help them up to 5. After 5, it gets a little tricky. So
that's awesome, man. That's pretty cool stuff. What else, man? I mean, I know that we got. Ooh, what else? We got some movies. We got a lot, man. I mean, what are we in April? This month, I'm. Yesterday was April 1st. Like, well, where is this month going?
It does feel like it.
But there's a lot of exciting things, you guys, coming up again here at Untapped Keg. A lot of things we're going to be doing RKG. We're going to inviting more people on the show. More people play video games with us. If you guys are gamers out there, to chat, hang out. Again, we're just 2 amateurs with not a lot of feeling words and and just 2 guys who just like to chat. And so, I mean,
I'm excited for
Harry Potter.
Yeah,
my Harry Potter thing up there. Boom.
I'm excited for next week going to Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah. That's next Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
then Mortal Kombat's next weekend. Are you gonna go see that in theaters, or you can watch it at home?
I'm gonna watch it at home. HBO Max,
but
right?
So I know you don't like that new song. Think about if you hear it over those speakers though, and just blasting all around you, and you hear Mortal Kombat. Don't you think that would get you really excited and pumped up?
It's gonna be. I shared this with my sister, your wife, the other day. Yesterday, I think actually. It's gonna be a. Depending on how I feel, it comes Saturday. It's gonna be a last minute decision.
Here's what I think you're gonna do. I think you're gonna start watching it, and you're gonna be like, "Okay, this movie's better than I thought it would be." You're gonna stop it and then go to the theaters to watch it. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be better. And Nebula just said she just taught that trick to her son and he loves it. So I'm glad that it's going to help other kids. That it really helped my kid, and he's done. They said he's doing amazing at math, and I think that might be part of it. Being able to just do something like super quick that is fun to see. Like the visual of it is fun. So, Daily Man says he's excited for the NFL draft that's coming up. Like, I'm also excited for that. I'm excited to see who I'm going to be mad about the Packers taking this year. I was not mad about who they took. I was mad about how they took him. Let's put it that way. I will never be mad at a player for not being able to choose where they go. That being said, let's see here. So we're going to see Demon Slayer in theaters next weekend. We got Mortal Kombat next weekend.
Yeah, a lot, man.
There's not a lot of video games that are really coming out that I'm super excited about. Like, I love Outriders that's going on. I'm playing Ratchet and Clank for the first time, and I love that. A lot of people have enjoyed watching me play that on stream, so I think I'll play that on stream. But besides Thursday nights and Saturday or Sunday nights, we really don't have, or Sunday mornings, sorry. We don't really have a set schedule for what we stream. Like, we do pretty much the podcast is the only thing we set. And then after that, it's how busy we get, how much my kids have tired me out. Cause sometimes I just pass out at 8:30 at night. Cause That's also a part of getting old. That's the part that I'm not looking forward to, is that I'm always tired. But I think it might be part of being a parent.
At least you're not passing out from
drinking. From alcohol. You're right about that. You're right about that. That's a good call.
You're passing out just from being out of shape and old. Yeah, I said it as if I'm in shape.
You're right, though. You're right. You ain't wrong.
Oh my gosh, man. This is refreshing. That's all I got, Jenny. Refreshing.
I just want to say it. We've said it multiple times. I love the chat today. They had their own conversation. Yeah. Everybody was respectful to one another, and everybody was sharing their experiences, and it's so fantastic. This is part of that community we were talking about that we did not have, that we wanted to create a space of, and we wanted to start it with ourselves being vulnerable, because you can't expect other people to be vulnerable if you're not willing to do it yourself. And this is just so much for it's just exciting. It's exciting. And you used validating. That is also part of it.
That validation, that
the energy that I've gotten from this is unreal. And I need to spend a day kind of refining everything around that we use so that we can get a little bit better. But I tell you what, let's wrap up the pod right here. Yeah. And we'll stay on chat and stay in stream for a little bit to talk with we'll stay and talk with the chat. So
of course,
you can catch us next week. We're very excited, very, very, very excited to have Amelie of the Sea on next week. So she is a part of Radically Kind Gamers. Mm-hmm. She was a social worker in a drug and rehabilitation facility. She's going to talk about that. She's going to talk about the psychology of addiction, psychological processes of addiction, and we're really excited to have her. We're
going to learn a lot.
We are. We're going to learn a lot. Give her the floor and allow her to share her experiences, and then kind of chime in where we can. But it's just going to be, I think she's very organized, and as you can tell, we are not. So I hope that we don't add stress to her with our unorganized chaos that we are. So,
but at least we don't come off as, white lab coats and calling ourselves whatever.
Hey guys, I know about addiction.
We're amateurs. We're learning our own journey and just sharing that with people.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot more we need to learn. And so I'm excited for our conversation next Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. But again, let's go ahead and wrap up this podcast, and we'll stay on this stream and chat with folks.
So catch us next week for that fun interview that we have. And then you can find us Untapped Keg everywhere on all the socials. We've been trying to be active and catch as many people as we can. A lot more people are interacting, so it might take us a little bit longer, and I'm sorry for that. Where can they find you, Monts?
Yeah, you guys can find me at MonteBall28 on Twitter, Instagram MonteBall. Obviously, our Untapped Keg pages as well, which on all social media platforms. Shoot us a message, questions, topics, honestly, anything. And anything you would like for us to address, anything you would like for us to elaborate more on, a certain topic or what have you, we're an open book. Where can they find you, RJ?
So if you hit up Untapped Keg everywhere, I will be there trying to help you, and so will Monts. On Twitter, I'm at It's Trickster, ITZ. The I is 1 in Trickster. And let's try to be better tomorrow than we were today. Because at least if we don't make it, we tried. That's all we can do in life. So thank you for tuning in. And chat, we will sit here and talk to you for a little bit longer. So everybody have a good week.
Yep.
Great week. Great week. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the follows. Oreo Stark, if you're here. Mopin Top. I think I said that right. Tell me if I'm not. Mopin Top. Let me know how to say your name. I'm sorry I said that wrong. We got Metafish TV and Nebula Retrograde. We appreciate the follows. We appreciate everybody who has been in chat sharing your experiences.
Feet.
Is Feet there?
Yeah. Feet.
Feet. We need you to talk to us.
Someone's name in the chat or in the viewers is
It's probably
Feet.
a bot.
Probably, but that's an awesome name. But yeah, I'm seeing stuff. Metafish, or was it Metafish, or was it? Let me get back to it. Where was it? Oh, Nebula. Nebula. Dan the Man. Actually, the true pros are the ones closest to the problem. You guys are dropping some facts in the chat. Nebula. I hated it when the counselors who never had a substance abuse problem in their life talked about addiction like they knew what it was like. There is a significant amount of power. There's so much power. I'm using significant a lot. Now I'm self-conscious about my words, but there's a lot of research that's showing obviously that peer support is really growing and expanding. A lot more research being or money is being dumped into peer support groups. People who have that lived experience. People who have that lived experience are able to, just be able to relate more to those who are suffering right now in silence, and people who are the ones who are suffering with a substance use disorder just respect that so much more and open up more to those who have that lived experience because, they get it. We get it. We understand the urges. We understand the moments of irritability where it just comes out of nowhere. We understand the moments of having a short fuse or maybe snapping on somebody and not really realizing why. We understand at times how lonely it may feel. You may feel excluded from your friends because they don't know if your drug of choice is alcohol. They don't know if they should invite you to the bar. They don't know if they should consume around you. Just that lack of knowledge, that lack of education kind of makes you feel as if you're excluded from your group of friends. All of the above, we understand it. We get it. It's not easy. It's not. It is not.
Wreck-It Raven is in chat. She's another radically kind gamer. So we really appreciate you being here. Thank you for the kind words.
Nice. Wreck-It Raven. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Nebula. I'm talking about all your struggles as well. I think, one thing about being from the Midwest, being from Wisconsin, Iowa understands a lot of what we're going through as well. Especially winter. You understand the winters.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate how what you two are doing in chat and talking about it and explaining it. And
Jenny is a certified peer support specialist in Iowa. That is awesome. Yes. That is awesome. Nebula, I worked as a peer support specialist for a bit too. Yeah, that peer support's huge, man.
It is. And that's something that I've noticed is having people reach out to us and talk about their experiences. And I share those experiences so I let them know that they're not alone and that they just appreciate that so much. And that's kind of what some of it is. Like, when we first started that podcast, we had a message from someone who was approaching 100 days. We called them on their 100 days, both of us. They couldn't believe, like, this is when we had like 2 listeners, maybe 3. And they couldn't believe that we responded to them after we said, if you reach out, we will respond to you. I mean, Dan the Man's been there from the beginning. So he knows. We appreciate you, Dan, so much. We appreciate you still following us. We're here to help others as well. And I think that people who are sober or on the recovery journey understand when we bring our own experiences, we're not trying to one-up you. We're not trying to diminish what you've gone through. We're trying to say that we also understand that it's okay. Thank you for being vulnerable. here's something vulnerable about me, so you don't have to feel alone.
Yeah, I think yeah, man. Yeah, that was a really good way to put it. That was a really good way to put it. And again, it's awesome to learn from you, learn from those in our chat, understand that this is a journey that, unfortunately you never really reach the finish line of the recovery journey, because you're always working to improve yourself until your last breath.
Absolutely. And if you're not, what's the point?
Right. And so this is awesome, man. I mean, we're getting a lot of great.
Raven comes in with the more we talk about it, the less it is, because it's a stigma, and we completely agree with it. So actually, one thing that we can also announce that we didn't announce on stream, we are going to have the unapologetic alcoholic on the podcast in May. She's going to come on. She started a podcast. She's had a lot of high profile sober guests on. Her biggest goal is to remove the stigmatism behind being an alcoholic. So I'm really excited to talk to her. What she does on Twitter is amazing. And somebody asked if this is just for men or women. Like, we're two men who started this, but like we said before, it's all about everybody. We're trying to have more women on. We're trying to have more diverse voices on. We don't want it to just be about us, and we understand that our views are somewhat limited because of who we are. Like, I'm a cisgendered white man. I'm as limited as it gets. I'm mayonnaise. Got to add a little bit of pepper. I taste like nothing, right? So you could say I'm like store-bought mayonnaise. I really have no flavor. You got to add some salt and pepper in there. You want some flavor.
No. Yeah, I mean, man. I mean, what else we got? What else we got in this chat? We got Nebula. Oh yeah, the seasonal affective disorder. Yes.
Man, we see less and less members come in AA and NA. Less and less members come in the winter.
Yeah, Dan the man. You guys put out some great content. I've lost many friends and family to addictions from alcoholism to drugs overdose. I'm staying sober for them. I want to live my life. That's awesome, Dan the man. We really appreciate you opening up with that and sharing that with us. It's most definitely, that's not easy. Not easy.
Carrie, we're sorry about your friend. That stinks. It's hard.
Oh, I didn't.
It's really hard.
Yeah, sorry, Carrie.
Nebula, I've lost 5 friends in 5 years. It hurts. It hurts so bad.
Wreck-It Raven. I will say I've not had substance abuse issues, but I have been around people I love who do. So I really appreciate y'all. On a personal level, my bio, mom had substance abuse issues, and that made her do terrible things. I didn't really understand it growing up in it, but I get it now. Thank you, Wreck-It Raven, for sharing that. That's, when when you get those early exposures to certain things, and then obviously hindsight being 2020, you're able to think back on it, revisit certain moments in your past when you were too young to understand it. And it's like sort of an enlightenment period, not in the sense of enlightenment as in daisies, sunflowers, all the above or whatever, just having a better understanding of certain situations. And that's that there's so much truth in that. And I think there's growth in that as well, too, understanding that everybody's fighting their own demons. Everybody's trying to recover from something, or everyone is recovering from something. And
yes,
thank you for.
I love that you say that, and I've been telling a lot of people that you say that a lot, and that's a philosophy that we've kind of taken on the podcast. And you coming up with that is massive, because everybody's recovering from something, and whether it be grief, whether it be loss and everything. And thank you, Raven, for being so vulnerable. And I appreciate your honesty. She says, I have forgiven, but I will not forget. But that's important. You don't have to forget in order to forgive. I think that's a misnomer when it comes to it. Forgiveness also, it opens you up. It's healing for yourself.
Yeah.
But not forgetting also helps you to remember and learn, right?
Absolutely.
Just because you forgive them doesn't make it okay that it happened to you, doesn't make everything around you. And I'm not trying to mansplain. I'm trying to give you my love. Give you my love. And
you're right.
I think that is amazing that you did that. And
yeah.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing that, being willing to share that.
Yeah, that forgiveness is, it's more for yourself. No longer allowing for whatever feeling you have been holding on to for so long against somebody or whatever. You're letting that go for yourself, but not forgetting, why you had that feeling. That's important. That is very, very important.
Right, Raven, that's so powerful. She just said she made her peace with it. She understands, or she was being very abusive towards. It was because of she was self-medicating for her own demons.
Wow.
It's very powerful what you just said there. Thank you. Yeah. We really appreciate that.
Wow. Carrie, I have the opposite problem. I cannot forgive something I cannot remember. My daddy abandoned me before I was ever born. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah, we're not experts at, everybody's process is different. I'm just going to be thinking about you, Carrie, on that for sure. And this is what we talk about a lot too in some of our episodes. We shared, like, sometimes you don't have to feel as if you need to say something. Sometimes it's just that's deep, and thank you for sharing that. There's a lot of strength in just sharing that. Sometimes people feel as if they have to say the right thing to help that person right now in the moment, think of a solution to what it is they're struggling with. Sometimes it's just if someone doesn't want to talk, you say, hey, do you want to chat? And they say no. Just sitting down next to them, and then just don't talk, but just sit there. Sometimes it's just being there. Sometimes it's just saying thank you for sharing that. Sometimes it's just smiling at them or what have you. We don't always have the right answers.
Giving a hug.
Yeah, we don't always need to provide a solution at that exact moment when somebody shares something very deep and personal with you. More times than not, it feels way more comfortable just having someone there.
Yep.
Just listening.
Absolutely.
Don't even have to say anything, just listening. So we appreciate you guys opening up in our chat.
Nebula, such an amazing point here as well. It is a family disease. It affects the entire family. We don't see it when we're in the throes of our addictions, but it is true. We just do our best to be the best people we can become when we do get sober. That is a mission statement right there. And that is so true. That's when I say we try to be better tomorrow than we were today. It's not that you were a bad person today. It's not that anything went wrong. It's that we're trying to be better. It's the act of trying in and of itself that helps the most. Yeah. That's what we say. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, RJ, put everything into better words than we can. Yep.
I gotta run to the bathroom real quick.
No problem. Ads officials. Hey, we've been pretty good. How have you been doing? How's the streaming been going? Raven, I hope you, thank you for talking to us. Thank you for being here. I hope that you can have a nap, and I hope that vaccine shot doesn't affect you too much. When I got it, it messed me up pretty good. And I don't wish that on anything, but I do recommend hydration. I know that everybody says that a lot, but I did not hydrate before I got my shot or really after. My partner did. She felt just like she was sleepy for a little bit, but that was it. I went through the flu basically. It was crazy. I appreciate everybody's openness in chat and everything that's going back. Ed's doing good, and your stream was really good. That's good. That's awesome.
All right, what I miss?
And absolutely, yeah. Nebula said it ties back to recovery, like we're just trying to do our best. Ties back to recovery not being linear. And that's really important for us. Neither of us are in AA. We don't disapprove of AA. We don't think AA is bad. It just wasn't for us. That's okay. There's no right or wrong way to go through sobriety and go through recovery. It's all about you. And what you said earlier is something that Mons and I say a lot is going sober is the most selfish decision that you can make, because when you make it, you have to make it for yourself. And that just helps everybody around you, whether you know it or not. And we appreciate that. So,
Wreck-It Raven said, I'm going to lurk. I feel feeling super from that. Did you already share that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's
okay. You can send your love to her too. That's no problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Wreck-It Raven. Thank you. That's wonderful for you chiming in, for you joining, hopping on, and thank you.
I need some more coffee. I stayed up too late streaming some Rocket League last night.
Nebula, ties back into what you said before about recovery not being linear. I'm a firm believer of that. Because in American society wants perfection, or at least portrays perfection in every facet. That being with especially with women. Women deal with this the most. Unfortunately, women feel as if American society makes them feel as if they have to be perfect, look perfect in front of cameras all the time.
Absolutely.
And that bleeds into other aspects, other facets of our lifestyles. You have to be perfect at work, perfect on the football field, basketball court, perfect wherever in your profession, all of the above. And so we immediately think that we need to be perfect with our sobriety, with our journey, when that's not the case. It's not a linear process. We are literally dealing with like chemicals in our brain that are telling us to go back to that drug. So this is not supposed to be an easy process. This is not supposed, if it was an easy process, then there would not be so many recovery organizations out there. There wouldn't be so many support groups, etc. We're dealing with a literal disease, and it's not a linear process. It's not. And so easier said than done, of course, but by not beating yourself up for relapsing, I understand it. It's easier said than done. But I just want for people to take those words honestly. It's not supposed to be linear. But that doesn't mean to be okay with relapsing. Yeah, put some pressure on yourself a little bit, but understand that it's a process. That side of you that you're working on has not just stopped and ceased to exist because you had a relapse. No.
Yeah.
Continue
I agree with everything you said. Obviously, those are some really good words, really awesome words there. So I was gonna say, you got any video games you've been looking at trying to stream?
We got Ed's officials.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed, for hopping in. I know you've been in here for a little bit, but thank you. Any games that I'm thinking about streaming? Yeah, I will be streaming today. I don't have much on my schedule, which is so awesome.
That's gotta be nice. That's a change.
Right, man. But you're just as busy too. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna figure it out what I want to stream. I might stream some of that Layers of Fear. I need to get back on it. I know I've been kind of absent from the stream world of video games here the last week and a half or so, which you've done a wonderful job, RJ. Of course, picking up my slack all the time. But but I don't know. I mean, I love playing FIFA and Madden, of course, but sometimes that's not really the best games to stream just because it's so oversaturated in the stream world.
Well, I think when I was talking about this last night doing Rocket League, what we're here for is this. We're here for our Thursday and our Sunday shows. We're not here. Right. We're trying to build a community. So us playing a game with the community, that's what it's about more, is that It's not necessarily the game we're playing. It's just hanging out with the community and talking and stuff. So I think that's where we are a little bit different from some other streamers where, and then, you know, if you come in and you're having a bad day and you want to talk about recovery, sobriety, whatever you want to talk about, like we can. If you need me to stop playing and like go into Discord and go into a private chat room, we can do that and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I will listen, and I will not listen to rebut what you're talking about. I will listen and actually listen to what you're saying, and then talk when you need us to talk and stuff like that. So like, you know, I've been doing Ratchet and Clank, but one game I've been really trying to get on is Resident Evil, the Resident Evil 3 remake. So I might do that on stream. I might do, and then when it comes to cutscenes, I've never played it before. I probably won't be talking too much during the cut screens, but cutscenes, goodness, I can't talk. But I will be obviously talking to you and just hanging out and having a good time. And
yeah,
I don't like Rocket League. So last night we got our butts kicked a lot, but it was fun sitting there and talking and chatting with everybody. And obviously it was the first time that I had talked with Cody in a really long time, so it was nice catching up with him. And DJ jumped over, and it was a lot of fun talking to him. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. I need to get back into Mass Effect Andromeda, and I really want to beat that before the Legendary Edition comes out. That's probably I don't know, either that or Resident Evil. I think Mass Effect Legendary Edition is my next game that I'm really looking forward to.
I got a conspiracy theory. This part of the
we're going into MC squared. It's Montz's conspiracy corner. MC squared. Let's go.
MC squared. So again, you guys are gonna learn so much about us. I'm huge into conspiracy theories. Huge. And again, I always tell people, just because I entertain them doesn't mean that I believe every single one. I just like to, people to kind of throw things at me that I haven't really necessarily thought about and see where that fits in my conspiracy part of my brain. But here's a conspiracy theory for everybody. What if, when we talk about when some people, talk about conspiracies about living in a simulation, some people think simulation, they're thinking like the Matrix, or maybe thinking, like a video game, like, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto or some stuff, like you're I don't know. What if it's more so like we are all, here you go, RJ, this is about to get you. Consciousness.
Okay.
We're all just conscious, like a form of energy that is just a ball of consciousness, right? We came from the source. We're like ambers from a fire, right? And we're just traveling through space, just that consciousness. And what it is our consciousness just comes in the form on this planet of a physical being, like the ones we are living right now, walking around, this avatar right here. This consciousness came from some point in space, some part in space from the source, but we're just like light beings. We're just passing through. And what if that's the case? Not so much of a developed thought yet, developed conspiracy, but something I've been thinking about for some time now. What if that's just what it is?
Isn't that just like Buddhism?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I guess most conspiracies have some sort of some sort of foundation there or whatever that they pick from. But I always thought about that. What if we are just from a source of consciousness? Because we can't study consciousness. We can't, but we obviously know it's there. What is that thing that touched us, that made us different from every other living thing on this planet? It's that consciousness. And so what if we just came from the source and we're just traveling through, and this is like a loaded body? I just loaded myself in the physical form, my consciousness, but I can't remember my past life. I'm just passing through. Some deep stuff right there. But I'll let that go. I got to develop more. I got to throw more on top of there, develop it more. But that's just the thought from MC squared. and I will end.
Metafish has something for you. It would make sense for something like that to occur with everything being a dialectic, a polarity on a spectrum. It would make sense for there to be a pull to the expansion of evolution.
Yes.
Consciousness is the condension of evolution, the inverse to material expansion and energetic.
Or conscious condition. I don't even know.
Condition.
Yeah, condition.
Moving into itself. The opposite of the Big Bang.
That's what I'm saying. That's an explosion of just
condension. Okay, condension.
An explosion of conscious beings from the source, and we're just traveling. We can all agree, energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
E equals MC squared.
So where did we come from and where are we going? What if we're just past consciousness, just passing through? And on this planet, we were capable of loading our avatars, putting our consciousness into a physical aspect, into the physical realm. Hey, consciousness is one thing that differentiates us from other living beings on this planet. But we are pretty much identical. It's that consciousness. So just a thought, but I love it. I love your take on that, Metafish. Dan the Man, if you haven't already checked out Conspiracy Theories podcast, it's on it. Yeah. Right. I love conspiracies, man. But again, I don't want to get too long with it here. I know you got things to do, RJ, today. I got things to do.
Yeah. We need to start winding down. My partner texted me, hey, I got to do some work. Can you come back up here?
I love conspiracy. I'll be streaming later today, guys. And if you guys are free later today, I'll be playing some games and I'll just share all my conspiracy theories that I got. I got a lot.
I'm looking forward to that because I enjoy it when you look, you share that. I'm trying. So one thing about this group that has been amazing, and it has brought me to attention the vocabulary we use and how sometimes it can,
let's go, mate.
Ableist terms. So like using crazy, makes people can feel uncomfortable, especially in terms of like, mental health. So like, I'm trying not to use that as much because I mean, it's just like other terms that we used to use that we now know aren't inclusive and can make people, stay in on themselves a little bit. So I'm trying my hardest. So when I'm searching for words, you can kind of see, yeah. So when you can see me trying to search for words, that's why. It's because I'm a word that I used to use, I'm trying not to use anymore. Trying to be as inclusive as possible. So I was gonna say crazy, but I don't want to use that word. So
well, you can say.
I will say I know, but I don't want to.
Right.
Yes. Right. Trying my hardest to find other words. So I don't know what other word I want to use, but I do enjoy listening to your conspiracy theories and then shooting them down. That's what I like to do. So Metafish asked for our Twitch handle. When we stream, we do stream from Untapped Keg.
Right.
So both of us. So that's something else we're doing. That's part of our how we're trying to build our community. So we appreciate it.
Don't get me started. Metafish, don't get me started on black holes. But anyways,
yes,
go ahead.
You look for it later, and I might pop into on my phone watching you. So I got to go upstairs and take care of my kids.
Yeah.
Let's go raid some other people. Appreciate you, Dan the Man. You have a good day as well.
Thank you, Dan the Man.
So here, I'm going to put this out and chat. You tell me. We're going to go raid somebody. So we have Word Fangirl playing some Stardew Valley, or we have Between Two Gays playing some Zookeeper. Who would everybody like to go watch?
Did you say the name is Between? Is that name Between Two Gays?
Yeah, they're
I like
they're
that.
a part of RKG, and they're they're a lot of fun. They're very nice people. So
I like that name.
that's who we're going to.
All right.
Between two gays, where are we going? That's what Metafish
But-
says too. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but I will be on later. You guys, again, probably around the 2-ish, 3 p.m. Central Time. So yeah. Let's do
All right.
this.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We appreciate it and we love you. And we're so excited for where we're going. So
Yes.
we will talk to you later. And we are rating. They're just starting though.
Hey, it's good timing. We're not live or anything, right?
No, no. Give me a second and I'll really shut it down. I just screwed something up bad. There we go. Okay, here we go.